Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Real Estate. If you're listening only, you have to go watch the video version because Ryan is fully merched up. He's got the Wake Up Real Estate hat and the Coffee is for Closers shirt. I feel left out. I'm just wearing my EXP merch.
I got my tea.
And he got, so Coffee is for Closers, which is why he's drinking tea. I, on the other hand, have Blackbeard's Delight from Black Rifle Coffee Company, because that's how I roll. Anyway, so today we're going to do a follow-up to yesterday. And we teased playing around with custom audience buckets and what I'll call, for lack of a better term, like drip retargeting. So like an automated campaign, but it all happens with retargeting. You know, it's not a smart campaign or a drip campaign in your CRM. It's the same idea, but it all happens on socials.
What's retargeting?
What's that?
What's retargeting? Let's assume.
Yeah. So what's retargeting or remarketing? I think those are used somewhat interchangeably. I mean, I guess hardcore digital marketing peeps may make some distinction between the two, but why don't we start there, Ryan? How would you define retargeting or remarketing?
Sure. Somebody takes an action with you, some form, as a result of some kind of marketing that you're doing, some kind of traffic you're driving or something. And then your stuff starts to follow them around, whether it's online or offline. Thanks.io does a lot of offline retargeting, for example.
Yeah. So someone clicks on an ad, someone watches 50% of a video, someone opts in to a landing page, someone, it could even be someone scans a QR code from a piece of direct mail, right? So they've taken some action which would indicate some level of interest in whatever the thing is that you're offering or talking about. And then we stalk them all over the internet and in real life, IRL, if you're using thanks.io, to follow up and follow through and make sure that when their motivation hits a tipping point or they're ready to make a buying or selling or refinancing decision, that you're the one they call or message.
I'm still waiting for Uber to create a retargeting API where I can just automatically have a driver go knock on the person's door.
That would be good. And listen, you may have, if you could get to the right person at Uber, they might be open to that idea. I mean, it's all about the dollar bills there. Okay, so there's a couple of pieces to this, and this may be a little bit more technical today than some, but really, what the takeaway I would want you to have is just to think about, use this as a thought exercise of how you might do something like this in your business. And by your business, most people that watch this are real estate agents, but you may have other businesses. You may have a local business of some kind. You may, maybe you're an LO like myself, right? I mean, there are the principles here apply to any business, small local business or big brand.
And remember, but we tend to focus on we tend to focus on 10 or 20% of the activities on the front end. That the activities on the front end that generate 10 to 20% of the income, when really 80% is in the follow-up. And I think what we're talking about today is how to, maybe it's not, you don't have to do this from the beginning, but this is how you would refine your follow-up. And this started, Josh, from yesterday. You're running a ton of these ads. I might as well bring the screen up, right?
Sure. Let's dig in. And folks, because of the topic today, we're skipping over some of the normal stuff that we do because we want to just get into some meat and potatoes here.
Yeah. So you've got a lot going on. You've got some retargeting ads going already, but you've got a lot of just direct 5-day HELOC acquisition ads going, right?
So the two main top of funnel offers or messaging is around HELOCs, 5-day HELOC, and DSCR. So I've got two top of funnel campaigns. Now, more than two, but two offers of which I'm running a number of different campaigns on, which I've already started to think through what do I do, or what can I try differently once some of them start to get stale, or I start to see rising costs, which some of them I have a little bit.
An interesting thing, Josh, that I do a lot for Thanks is I actually take my ones that are getting stale and I duplicate them into my retargeting audiences. So, and vice versa.
Okay. Yeah.
If one of these gets stale, then you'll just go pop it, because there's no harm in somebody seeing the same ad again that they already saw. Right. So
exactly. Yep.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to say, hey, look at all these people, these impressions, these results who are hitting these ads at least one time. Now let's follow them around. Let's retarget them with more of the same on the same platform on Facebook.
Yep.
And the way that I've been doing this for Thanks.io that we talked about yesterday is, let's create a bunch of different buckets. I like 0 to 7 days, 7 to 14 days, 14 to 21, 21 to 30, and then 30 plus all the way out to 180 days, which I think is still the limit of how long you can retarget on Facebook.
It depends on the type, right? So like lead form, it's actually 90 days. Page engagement, I think, is up to 365. And then the 180 is maybe video views.
Yeah, maybe.
Something
but
like that.
But the thing to remember as we do this is that anytime somebody re-engages, they can get re-added.
Exactly. Yes.
And
right.
the numbers
dynamically updating. Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Right. All right. Well, where this is all going to start, where all retargeting starts on Facebook, is in the audience building stuff that they have. And just did this a minute ago. If you hover over here on the left, it'll do this fly out thing. And what we're going to focus on is this audiences option right here. And Josh has a bunch of audiences ready to go already, but we're going to create these buckets from scratch today. We're going to click create audience. We're going to click custom audience, and we're going to be inundated with options. Lots of options.
One quick note, I do have a lot of them. I don't have any as you're describing, where we're bucketing them based upon a period of time, and then moving them along. I just have them sort of in big buckets, let's say, and just like sort of catch-alls, which is better than nothing. But I'm at a point where this is relevant because I have proof of concept. I have a growing pipeline, and now it's about how can I do more and how can I make it better? How can I do more and how can I make it better? And this, I think, is certainly a way to make what I'm doing better, to refine it.
So one thing to think about is, where are people most engaging with your ads? Where are you sending them? And I think, if I'm right, they're either watching videos or they're going to lead forms, right? They're not going direct to the website.
Those would be the two big buckets. Absolutely. They're either watching videos, because I'm publishing a lot of Reels style videos, and I'm driving a lot of traffic to lead forms.
All right. So think about that. If you were sending people straight to your website, then you might choose website and do what we're doing here. I'm going to start with the lead form here. And we got to find your page. You're running this all off your NMLS page, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And then look what we can do on the lead form. We can do anyone who opened the form. And I like this because probably about half of them don't actually continue and opt in.
It's more than half. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot more than half, actually. I would say what's interesting to note on lead forms is the opt-in rate on those is pretty similar to a landing page conversion rate when it comes to like Google pay-per-click.
Yeah.
So, we get anywhere from 20 to 40% who opt in, meaning, for every 100 that click the learn more button or the get quote button that opens up the lead form, only 20 to 40 out of 100 actually will submit their info.
Gotcha. So
but they all have interest, right? They all did something that indicates interest, which is why choosing anyone that opens it is really powerful here.
Yeah, you could only choose the ones who opened but didn't submit, but we're going to choose all the ones that opened.
Okay.
At all. Now, should I just select them all, or I chose a few that seemed obvious to me would be the ones that you've created recently, right? This bucket.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, we're gonna stick with those. Retention, as you said, the maximum time on lead forms is 90 days. So we're gonna do that. Now let's call this. I'm gonna start from the 0 to 7. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll do time retargeting. I'm going to call it that, 0 to 7 days, and then we can just do mortgage or something. Do you want, just so you know it's not your regular stuff, right?
Okay.
So call it what you will. And then the important thing, since I said 0 to 7 days, I need to choose 7 in the retention period.
Right. Yep.
So this bucket is created for people who are 0 to 7 days. Now I'm going to click create another custom audience. This is fairly simple once you kind of get into it. I wonder if I could duplicate that one, but I'm not sure I can. So let's do that. It'll probably save us work. I just want to see if it'll allow me to.
I know you can edit it, but I don't know that you can duplicate.
Yeah, I don't think we can unless, what happens up here? Yeah, can't duplicate. So a little tedious, but it's no big deal. We're going to click custom audience. We'll be really good at doing this in a minute. So we're going to get the repetition. Lead form. I got to pick your page again. Anyone who opened the form. And now our retention is what? 8 to 14 days, right? Time retargeting. 8 to 14. And why is it? Oh, I didn't choose the lead forms. So I'm just going to choose these 4. And create audience. So I'm just going to have you guys watch me do this because I only need to do it a few times. By the time I do it a few more times, you'll kind of really understand how it works.
It's a little redundant, but the more you see it, the more it kind of can click on how to do this.
And you only need to do it this one time. You know,
so just so everyone understands, this list dynamically updates like literally every minute. It's constantly dynamically updating the buckets as people click and engage and so forth.
I made a mistake. I forgot. This is a good point. I forgot to do something in my previous list. This is where it gets a little confusing, but it's just logic. What I need to do, Josh, that I forgot to do is as I build this one, I need to exclude the same people from the other audience. Now, I'm not actually going to do it here. I'm thinking through this. We can do it at the ad level. So you got the choice. You got the choice. Like, do you want to think about it every time you run an ad to build the logic, or do you just want to have it built into the lead lists? I'm gonna recommend maybe doing it here, just so that when you're creating your ad set, you can just choose the time period, and you don't have to do exclusions in there, if that makes sense. And comment if this is getting a little confusing, but it'll make sense in a minute. So I'm actually going to take the time now, and I'm going to say, hey, anyone who opened these forms, it's annoying that I got to choose you every time here. So I'm going to exclude all those people. So look, my retention here is 15 days, but I'm excluding everybody up to 8 days.
Yep.
Okay. And then you have to go into each one, and it cascades. It cascades down. So my 8 to 14 here excludes in the past 8, in the past 15. So I just need to rename this one. But you're starting to see how it can get messy, right? When you first do it. So 15 to 21.
But I want to reiterate, this is work theoretically that you only have to do once, right? Yeah, so you just have to, if you just muddle your way through it, or, if you want to chat with us about getting some help with this, we can't do it for free per se, but if you'd like to, you can go to wakeup.realestate and use the chat widget, and we can schedule a time to go over. Now, this is also assuming that you're driving a lot of traffic, right? This is a chicken and egg thing, right? You got to have to be doing things to generate the audience buckets for us to then sort out along these lines.
Yeah. So this is the logic here. My 0 to 7, I didn't need exclusions because it only went up to the 7.
Yep.
This is in the past 15 is my 8 to 4. Technically, I did get myself confused here. This should be 15 to 21, and I'm having a hard time doing it as I talk live. But I'm going to leave it at this, Josh, and finish this after, so people don't have to watch me do that 10 times. But you get the point. And it might even be helpful to write the logic out on a piece of paper before you go and do it. Like
correct.
My 0 to 7 audience, my 8 to 14 audience, and then write out the rules that you need, and then just go do it. Which is probably what I'll go do after we finish today and spend 10 minutes just getting this clean for you.
Yeah.
So now what we'll have after we create our buckets is all of these time segmented audiences. I will mention too that you could also, on top of this, create videos audiences as well.
Right.
Since all your ads have videos, but we'll stick with the lead forms for now. So is that good? Should I finish it all for everybody, or you get the
No, I think that gives everybody the idea here. And it honestly, I don't know that it makes sense to do any more, because everyone would have to individually decide how many buckets do I want. Right. And just because Ryan is saying 0 to 7, 8 to 14, like, you don't have to do it like that. You could go 0 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90. It's so, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's the logic that makes sense to you.
And you might do a 0 to 1 that's just have one ad that's like, hey, thanks for clicking my link yesterday. So if your content references time, then you would do it in those cases too.
Yep.
So now that we've got those audiences built, it gives us the ability to now go create campaigns for each of the audiences and to start to put content into those buckets. So let's just do a campaign. And I don't know where you want to go objective wise with your retargeting campaigns. It helps to just pick one and stick to it for all of them, but you don't have to.
I generally do awareness, but I'm not saying that's the right answer.
So you just basically what you're going to do after they engage the lead form is you're saying, hey, let's just get them to watch more of my videos, and then you'll have calls to actions within the videos, which is kind of what I like too. We've got to pitch. I think we have to pick the special category.
Yeah. Honestly, Ryan, for me, I choose housing and credit.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Right. Yeah. Time-based retargeting, 0 to 7. Okay. Got all that set. We'll go to the next stage. It's got ad set at 0 to 7. Now your budget doesn't need to be super high here. Just you'll get lots of impressions.
Just to encourage everyone, you can do $1 a day. You can do as little as $1 a day.
I think you've got a good bunch of people in here though, right? So I'm going to do 3.
Okay.
What do you want? Yeah.
3
would be as if you have good traffic going. And here's the important part. We're going to get to our custom audiences targeting. This is where we choose the existing audience. And you see here, I have my time retargeting 0 to 7 days waiting for me.
Yep.
Now there's nobody, well, there probably are people on there right now because you've been running, but you could set this up even before you run your initial ads, and it'll dynamically add people to the ad.
That's a great point, right? So you can, circling back to, something we mentioned yesterday, like designing it, starting with the end in mind. What client do I want to get? And what am I going to do to get someone from they don't know me to they know, like, and trust me, and they're ready to do business? Like, what are those benchmarks or stops along the way? And you can reverse engineer. You can create all of this, even if the current audience buckets are 0. It won't spend any money, so it's no harm, right? It won't, if there's no one in the audience, it won't spend money. But once people start to populate in the audience, then it will.
So I said a few minutes ago that, I was going to build them in the audiences, the logic. And you see how I got myself confused there when I was just because of the way the layout was, with my 0 to 5 and 15 a few minutes ago. You can actually do that here and say, hey, when I'm building my audience for the 0 to 7 days, I can come in here and do my exclusions here. So I would exclude my 8 to 14, my 15 to 21. You don't actually have to do that for the earlier stage.
Right.
If that makes sense, because it's already there, but
exclude. The
it's
first
not going to hurt
bucket,
to
there's
add
no
them.
one
So I could just say, like, when I get to my 8 to 14s, I would just exclude the 0 to 7s.
Yeah.
So I might say, you know what, just maybe do it here. You can do it both too. It won't hurt. So that's the trickiest part is the logic, but I think we all passed our real estate tests. We can figure out the logic.
Alina, I don't know if it's Alina or Alina. I'm sorry. How do you rotate several ads so they don't see the same ad over a month? That's the whole point of this, right? Yeah. By putting buckets together, you could literally, I'm not suggesting this, but you could literally do what Ryan described, and you could have them see something different every day. You could. Again, I'm not suggesting you should, but you could. You can also set the reach or the frequency.
I have about, for Thanks Today, I have about, separated by weeks, and I have about 2 or 3 ads in each week. And what I'm always doing is I'm turning off and on. I only look at it like once a month, but I'm turning off and on or adding different ads to the different weeks. And what this creates, the point here is it creates this like you're everywhere effect. And you must have this huge advertising budget because you've got these 15 different, everywhere I look, there's a different message from you related to what you do. Yep. Which implies that you're going to create the content, which Josh is doing, which I'm doing, but you're going to have to actually, try to add stuff to these buckets, fresh content. So I've created my targeting audience, and now Josh, on 0 to 7 days, you're going to want to think about what you might say. And a good one for you might just be a face, just you in front of the camera saying, hey, you recently checked out, one of my things. Or you can not even reference that, and you can just pick a creative that you already had. So I could go in here, I can go edit media. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Get rid of this. You probably have like 100 things in here already. And if for those of you watching who do already have a bunch of ads you've run, just go grab something you did in the past that's related to your business. So we can grab any of these, Josh. I don't know. And there's a risk that we grab the same one that you're running to some people, but it doesn't matter. They see the same ad for a couple of days.
It's not a huge deal. Yep.
Yeah. Here, I'll just pick. What is this? Looking for a...
That one's a fix and flip, I think, the yellow one. I'm not sure what.
Yeah. Whatever. So basically, you're just going to rotate your content in.
And it doesn't have to be video. So it doesn't have to be video. It can be static images. It can be, you could make a carousel. I mean, it can be any of the content types. Video, I think, is great for many reasons, obviously, but it doesn't have to be.
Now, what would you probably want to do Messenger, don't you? Where do you want people?
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Probably a variety, but Messenger would be the way most of my content I structure now. I give them a call to action where it includes a URL, it includes a call to action to comment or shoot me a DM. So the Messenger does make a lot of sense. Yes.
You could also make things simple for yourself. You could put up a simple page that has a live chat on it.
Right. Or you could send it to your link tree.
Yeah.
Or similar, like a sort of a link tree style landing page.
Yep. So, and you could vary these within the retargeting campaign. So you choose your objective here. I'm just going to do appwithjosh.com just to finish this, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
The right URL. Yeah. And publish. And then what you're going to do then is you're going to make sure you have a time-based retargeting campaign for each of your buckets the same way.
Yep.
All right. So this whole project, it might take you, without the content, it might take you a couple of hours, an hour or two to wade through. But I built mine over a year ago, and I barely touch it. It just runs and runs and runs. And people tell me all the time, dude, you're killing it. I see your ads everywhere. Yeah.
Yep. So
whatever
you create, let's say you create 3 to 5, maybe 6 time-based buckets.
Yep.
And then for each of them, you have 2, 3, maybe 4 content pieces that they're working their way through. And then that accomplishes 2 things. It makes you feel like you're everywhere, and it gives them a variety of content, which then over time you will see which of those pieces gets more engagement. Like, and then you can create more around those topics because your audience is demonstrating to you by their behavior, whether they like or they comment or they just watch more of it. You can you have that data to then realize, okay, I should probably make more stuff around this.
And Facebook will tell you too. It'll tell you your costs. Yeah.
Yep. And if you listen to people like Gary V, Ryan Holiday, Alex Hormozy, etc., they talk about the same stuff over and over. It's the same 5 to 7 topics that they talk about over and over and over, just in different ways. But it's the same stuff. You don't, and as boring as that may be to us as we create it, the proof is in the pudding. They talk about you watch any of them, they talk about the same stuff over and over and over and over and over.
Well, the good news is in real estate, you don't have to, because you've got new listings, you can go.
Well, but it's the same stuff. It's different content. You're talking about new listings. You're talking about market stats. You're talking about, financing options or programs, right? It's the same stuff, but the content it's the same pillars or buckets of content, but it evolves because you're talking about a different listing. You're talking about the stats from this month versus last month. You're talking about the stats from this school district versus that school district, right? So but it's the same buckets. It's the same, big things.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So on the technical front, I'll just leave with one last tip. You see how we have your first campaign here? You can go back to the campaign and you can just click duplicate.
Yes.
Ignore their recommended adjustment.
I don't know which is the best option there.
And then we're just going to create a new campaign. And then you can go in there and all you need to do, see how it says copy. Now I'll change this to 8 to 14. Right? Next.
Yep. So you change the name of the campaign. You go to the ad set. You would change the audience bucket, right? You'd go to the 8 to 14, and then you'd at the ad level change the content.
Yeah, and remember, this time I'm going to go add exclusion, and I'm going to exclude the last one I did.
Right.
So you can kind of, for the higher time frame, exclude the less ones, and I'm going to recommend do it that way instead of at the beginning way I was, because it was confusing me. This is a little cleaner, and then it's easier to go back and look and make sure you have it right. Go next. And then since I duplicated the campaign, it's going to have that initial ad in there. And all you need to do is change out the creative or just delete that ad.
Yep.
So
thanks for the answer. Also, do you add videos viewed from retargeting ads back into your video views list, the main retargeting bucket? I do. I would.
Yeah, because they're re-engaging.
Yeah, exactly. And it dynamically keeps cycling them through them, right? It'll dynamically keep cycling them through. And then I might have missed it, but what's a good budget to run an ad to a 10,000 person or a bucket of 10,000 for a retargeting list?
Are there actually 10,000 people who have engaged with you recently?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would always recommend start small. And you can always slowly increase it. By starting small, it can actually force Facebook to better utilize your budget. In other words, it's a bid platform, and there are algorithmic data, etc., in there. And by setting it up that way, you're sort of forcing Facebook to find the people that are most likely to engage with whatever it is that you're doing. So, and good on you. She has 10,000, 25% video views.
That's great.
I mean, kudos. Perfect. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, $10 a day, 20 a day to start.
Well, so 10,000. Let's say she takes that 10,000, and let's say she splits it into 4 buckets: 0 to 7, 8 to 14, 14 to 30, 31 plus. And I'm just randomly saying that. And then let's say that she does $2.50 per bucket.
Yeah.
That's $10 a day. That might be a good place to start and just see after a week or a month what's going on. You know, how do the numbers shake out? What does it look like? And then you can always adjust from there.
I've been a little sloppy here, but this will give you some context. This is the last 2 weeks for thanks.io. I'm paying a little too much for my link clicks here, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might decide, hey, I want my 7-day people to see more, but I'll spend a little less here based on the data that Facebook's spitting back at me. You'll know whether or not the same people are seeing it over and over again too much. You see, actually, my frequency number is awful. You see that?
Okay, so this brings up a good point. You can actually set a frequency cap as well.
Yeah, it's probably the next level.
If you want, it's been a while since I've looked at this, but let's say in that 0 to 7 bucket, you could set a frequency cap of 3, which means they'll see you 3 times in that 7 days. Or maybe you set a frequency cap of, I think you can do it. Is it by day? It's been a while.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to do that.
But you could have it, I believe you can set it to once per day, meaning they see you once a day. It's not a bad idea, right? Or maybe, like I said, maybe it's 3 times over that 7-day window.
That's a great tip. I need to get that in place here, and I can't remember where you do it. If you do it at the ad level, or maybe it's at the
I think it's the ad set level.
Okay.
But I don't. We'll have to. Maybe we'll have to circle back on that tomorrow.
So if you're watching this now and you actually do this, and in 3 months, just remember, because you don't need to do it now, but set your cap later once you see the results. But you could set it now. That just might be a job for Google. You might have to Google that, how to set a frequency cap.
Yeah.
But that's a great tip, Josh. I got my money's worth today because I'm going to go back and do that for my campaigns. Yep. So
I know we probably lost some folks getting in the weeds a little bit today, but I want to circle back and reiterate, it's the strategy and taking the time to reverse engineer this. Okay, these are the type of clients that I want.
Yep.
This is the offer or offers I'm going to use to get the initial interest and engagement. And then these are the things I'm going to offer them or present,
educate them
back in front of them to move them closer to knowing, liking, and trusting me. And
let me add something there. These are the things I'm going to do to add value. I mean, I know you're doing that, but make sure that content that you're dropping in the drip is as good as possible. And a good place to start is just what questions are people asking you from day to day?
Yes.
As you're showing them houses or listing their houses, and turn those into videos.
And this was kind of accidental, but Ryan picked a piece of content that he used in this demonstration that was actually a checklist. It's me talking through the 6 things that someone or that we would need to review if someone wanted a DSCR loan, right? So that's actually, there is value there. Yes, I'm selling, let's say, the idea of them wanting a DSCR loan with us, but I'm giving them what they would need to, how they could get their ducks in order to get a DSCR loan with anyone. So guides, questions, checklists, things of that nature, right? If you're trying to get listings, let's say, in a particular area or in your whole county for that matter, one of the retargeting pieces would be a home selling checklist, right? And you give them, these are the things that you should go through and review about your home to make sure it's ready for sale when the time is right.
If there's anything unique that you do to service a listing, talk about it. Exactly. Did you know that we run Facebook retargeting for all of our, not only will we run you an ad, but we'll stalk people.
Yep. And in fact, this is one of those. You can even make it a little meta, So if you want to talk strategy specifically about your business, I would recommend go watch wakeup.realestate/Renos, wakeup.realestate/RENOS, and you can schedule a time to chat. I would love to strategize with you, and maybe put together a plan, which if you'd like help implementing, we could discuss that as well. But at least you'd have a plan that if you choose to execute on your own, you can. And there are great resources that can help with this. For example, Listings to Leads is a wonderful platform where you can do a lot of this stuff. They have the ability to create retargeting audience buckets right in there and launch retargeting ads right from their dashboard and platform. And if you go to growwithjosh.com/L, the number 2L, L2L, you can get a free trial. And we have some additional resources, I think, that if you sign up through my affiliate link, we can hook you up with as well. And there are others. What's that?
Sorry. I'm cutting you off a lot now. I think the guy on the left does that. I think that's the job of the guy on the left is to break the flow.
Exactly. Yeah. Whoever's left is
So the last thing I want to mention is I think that if you cut out all distractions, I think somebody could build an entire real estate business around this idea without a website, without even a CRM, if you were strategic about making calls to action in your videos to either message you on Facebook or to shoot you a text message. And if your content in the retargeting is good enough, probably expect to have, you can get to a point where somebody's reaching out every day.
I'm at that. I have anywhere from 2 to 4 inbound contacts a day right now.
Even without this.
Well, I'm doing retargeting, but not quite to the strategy level that Ryan is describing. And yet I'm getting between Facebook and Instagram direct messaging, or people that just call or text me directly, because of the way I'm embedding the calls to action in the content, the text above the content, or depending on the platform, I guess sometimes it shows below, but the text with it that has those calls to action, and just the sheer volume of it is at a point where I'm getting those warm inbound requests. You all have, or most of you have, access to MLS, right? So you can set people up in there when they get to that point, and you can leverage technology to do a lot of the rest of the stuff here. So.
And in this particular idea, probably anything you do here, you could just go ahead and do on TikTok, the same exact content. Maybe YouTube. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Tomorrow is Friday, so we'll talk a little follow up and dig into some of that good stuff. And
I'll be on a plane. Sorry.
Okay. So I'll be talking a little follow up for Follow Up Friday. Also this afternoon at 2 Eastern, Jordan and I are doing an info session on what we call our RELO program, Real Estate LO dual license, and how you can double your revenue without selling more homes. You should have gotten an email invite. It was there was a link to it at the bottom of our reminder email today, and I'll send out a reminder email this afternoon. Actually, I think an accidental. I screwed up. I thought I was planning ahead, and I scheduled a reminder that went out at 1:45 a.m. today.
I saw that.
Out at 1:45 p.m. today. So sorry if you got that. But if you can't join us live, if you go to that Zoom link, we've set it up so that it's on demand at any time. So if you miss it live, you can go back and check it out. And if you'd like to chat about that, just reach out. Go to growwithjosh.com or josh15.com. Thanks, Ryan. This was great. And safe travels tomorrow. And I'll see everybody either this afternoon or tomorrow.
See you guys.